name is Stephanie Spicer and I'm a Limey. When I first found out I had Lyme disease, I spent a lot of time reading and researching and talking to other Limeys to try to find the best treatment options. Again and again, I kept coming up against the same issue. This or that treatment can help put the disease in remission, but symptoms tend to come back later. I didn't want that. I wanted to get better. Then one day, I talked to a friend of a friend who told me he had just bought something called a Rife machine and that he believed he had found a way. One thing he said to me has stuck with me ever since. Rife treatments are non-systemic. That is, they don't use your body's natural pathways for distribution. This is very important when the bacteria you're dealing with tend to hide themselves deeply within your system rather than just hanging out in the bloodstream. I was skeptical and surprised at first because I had never come across Rife technology in all my extensive reading. But as I continued researching, it remained the only treatment I heard about that seemed capable, at least in theory, of curing as opposed to just suppressing Lyme. Now I should say right here, as I always do, I'm not a doctor and I'm not licensed to give you medical advice, so nothing that I say here should be taken that way. I'm just sharing what has worked for me, one Limey to another. And I'm not selling anything either, although you're free to buy a t-shirt from the link in the description if you'd like to support this channel. But I mean, I don't have any health services or products or devices to profit from. In fact, that's one thing that attracted me to Rife technology. It's not a centralized industry. There are different companies and individuals who build Rife machines of different kinds, and the people who use them tend to be a community of citizen scientists who help each other out. In my case, without knowing hardly anything about Rife machines, I found a secondhand one online, and my parents bought it for me for $400 and then drove from Cincinnati to Michigan to pick it up for me. When it arrived, I really didn't know what to do with it, so it just sat around for a while until I asked a scientist friend of mine to take a look at it. She read up on it for me and ended up buying me Brian Rosner's book, Lyme Disease and Rife Machines. I read the book over the summer of 2009 and realized that the machine I had was actually the best one I could have gotten for my particular situation, and I started treatments that autumn. So what is a Rife machine? It's basically a machine that emits an electromagnetic field or current. It can be tuned to specific frequencies to kill specific microorganisms. Basically, the principle works like this. Every microorganism has a mortal oscillatory rate. That is, the rate at which it can be shaken to death. Lyme bacteria in their spirochete form are particularly responsive to this kind of treatment because they're long and thin and susceptible to breakage. The electromagnetic waves have the ability to pass through the human body, including bones and brain, without alerting the Lyme to danger. A load of bacteria can therefore be taken by surprise and killed without sending the rest into hiding. This makes it a good option for treating Lyme. Another huge plus is that there are no known side effects to Rife machine treatments. Although, as with all bacteria-killing Lyme treatments, you will experience a Jerisch-Herxheimer reaction from the toxicity of the die-off, which is why detox is an essential part of treatment. Another bonus is that this treatment is much less expensive than a lot of other Lyme treatments. It's basically just a one-time cost to buy a machine, which can range from several hundred to several $1,000s. This makes it a much more accessible option for people with stretched or limited finances. Now, before you go out and buy one, do keep in mind that there are some so-called Rife machines out there that are ineffective and basically just useless scams. It's important to inform yourself before purchasing. I'd highly recommend Brian Rosner's books as a good place to get started. Because this is the main treatment I've used and because it has worked well for me, I'll be focusing on Rife machine treatment on this channel. So I'm just curious to know, have you ever heard of Rife machines in relation to Lyme disease treatment? Let me know in the comments. And I'll see you next time, Limeys. Keep on fighting.